everyone, welcome back. So, Women Manifesting Systems of Care. It's a virtual event that will bring healing along with discussions through art in the midst of COVID-19. It will explore the different ways to nurture and strengthen the communities in these uncertain times, and it will also be centered around women's voices and celebrate the centennial of women's suffrage in the U.S., reminding us all that this is an election year. And joining us to tell us more, we welcome organizer Cynthia Tobar. Hello, Cynthia.
Hello, Rhina. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for being here, and thank you for coordinating this much needed event. Here we are, 6 months later, and we are still dealing with this pandemic, and we are dealing with this new norm, as most people like to say, and yet we continue to communicate through this virtual platform. And I know you work with the Bronx Community College, right?
Yes.
And your classes are being held virtually, right?
Yes, the library and the archives. I'm the head of archives at Bronx Community College, and all of our services right now are being operated virtually.
And so let's just say, yes, okay, we've already acclimated to that way of being and living. However, what kind of role is that playing on us really mentally?
It seems as if, since March, I feel that as a community and across the city, across the country, across the world, we're being asked and being overwhelmed to try to go by day, and feeling sort of isolated and stifled and restricted in our movements. And right now there's so much that's being put upon us in regards to like dealing with social injustice. And I feel like all the activity that was happening around May was very inspiring and reinvigorating, this idea that we still had a voice and that we could still sort of feel that sense of empowerment. And we really wanted to provide a space for that, to continue that conversation. Originally, we wanted to participate in the unveiling of the Women's Rights Pioneers Monument in Central Park, which was sort of like the inspiration for this event, was thinking like, okay, we wanted to do a community talk, but then COVID happened, and due to the COVID restrictions, we couldn't put that together. So instead, we decided, given what we had planned for the year and how 2020 is still this year, it's still not canceled. There's still the centennial of women's suffrage that's happening. We wanted to acknowledge that and create space for that for the community. So we decided to work on creating a virtual event that would provide this space so that we can hear and honor many voices in the community talking about the issues that we wanted to talk about, mostly centering women's voices as we're reflecting on the centennial, but then also thinking about how we can use that power of storytelling, of listening, and also sort of community engagement in art to help with the healing process so that we can keep on moving forward and building that resilience that we need to like move forward as a society and not give up.
Right, especially after they fought for so many years to have the right to vote, and us being in an election year.
Right.
This is a way to remind people that, we fought to have that right. Mm-hmm. It is important for all of us to exercise that right, especially with the stuff that we continue to endure. And so moving on from that, and based on what you've shared with us, there's this other component which I'm really, really thrilled to share with our viewers, and I know you're going to do the best you can to elaborate further. But I love this artistic concept of elements and just embodying the spirits of worldly elements such as earth, water, fire, air, and space. And so I understand there's going to be this like artistic movement healing component that's going to happen prior to the panels. So can you share a little bit more about that?
Yes, and so this part of the event was conceptualized by my creative collaborator, Alana Weiss. So we thought of the event together because she was going to be one of my original panelists for the community talk for the Women's Monument in Central Park. That ended up falling through, and then me and her just started talking and thinking, there's got to be a way we could create this sort of community. And so for me, being an oral historian, it was mostly about the dialogue and the conversation, and obviously that form of honoring and giving space to people's voices. And Alana was also very interested in exploring these ideas of the virtual room, the limits of Zoom fatigue as we're all experiencing it right now. And we were just really intent on providing and giving something that sparks an element of joy back in people's lives, right? As best we can to sort of experiment with other ways of engaging audiences and participants in the digital as well as the physical realm. And so her piece, which is basically in collaboration with the 5 performers, Chris Lee, Rachel Mellis, Moore Mendel, and Sarita Morgan, she's choreographing and directing this piece, and it's supposed to be some sort of a celestial online conference with the performers who are going to perform this ritual, embodying spirits of the worldly elements, earth, water, fire, air, and the ether. And so each one's going to sort of log into this virtual space and participate. And the idea that we had when we were thinking about the event and conceptualizing the event is that with this digital care package that each participant is going to receive, everyone's going to be able to somehow at some level participate in along with that event. And so it'll be very exciting. I mean, she's working on it very hard right now as we speak. And the idea, again, was just, yes, these are very serious moments, and all of us are going through our own struggles and suffering and just sort of going through, we wanted to emphasize the resilience, but we also wanted to give back to the community and foster that strength building, that community building that happens. And that can happen with art. Art can remind us of what's really important, which is our community, our networks, and the people behind us that'll help us strengthen and get through this.
I know, and not only that, it's a collective means of healing together,
Right.
even though we're apart, right? So I'm really, really excited about that component. So that's going to open it. And then the second component is the panel, right? So who are your panelists?
So the panel itself is going to be a conversation, and it's going to be featuring Maria Ponte, a Bronx native, author, performance artist. Bridget Bartolini is an oral historian and founder of the 5 Boroughs Story Project. Spirit Tawfik, who's an anti-racism educator and storyteller, and also one of the coordinator for Women NYC, who were one of the collaborating partners with all the events around the unveiling of the Women's Monument in Central Park. So she'll be talking about that, as well as Alana. Alana Weiss will also be the panelist. She'll be talking more about the background of her piece, elements, and basically how we as women, yes, it's inspiring to be part of these circles, but we want to give back, and we're seeking to do this. And a pandemic isn't going to stop us from moving forward to addressing the needs that were there before the pandemic, they're there during, and they'll certainly still be there after. But we're addressing this in a very proactive, positive mindset.
And so you're going to be the moderator.
Yes.
So did you coordinate I guess the flow and the rhythm of what is going to be shared?
Yes, we'll be having some questions, and what we're going to do at the end of the panel too is we're going to open it up to Q&A so that other participants can also chime in. But the idea is, again, sort of like having this organic conversation around just, as well as just women-centered voices, as well as women manifesting their strength as in their creativity and thinking outside of the box and thinking about alternatives to get us through these difficult moments, and how their work and their storytelling and just their civic engagement can like help push forward these themes that we're all wrestling with right now, especially in regards to like ideas around whose voices get highlighted and whose get pushed aside, and how by centering these voices again, we could start to address a lot of those inequities that we see in our public spaces, in our public art, in our everyday lives. As we're also thinking back to our ancestors, right? Those women that fought those hard battles to get us the right to vote. That battle is still continuing in many different forms and amongst many different groups in this country and in the Bronx too. So it's so important to sort of push that forward and really highlight the strength that we have to offer.
Wonderful. It sounds amazing. And thank you for bringing it here to our viewers. Cynthia Tobar, you guys, once again, Women Manifesting Systems of Care will take place September 25th from 2 to 5 p.m. via Zoom. Please make sure to RSVP on Eventbrite and type in Women Manifesting Systems of Care virtual broadcast for a digital care package souvenir. All right, we have to take a quick break, but when we return, we're going to learn how one author used food to connect with other cultures when we return.